Hi, I'm Kristen from thehomemakersresource.com, and I want to share with you how you can save on ground beef. I had originally gone to my grocery store this morning in hopes of getting a deal on 70% lean ground beef for $1.88 a pound, but when I got there, I noticed something very special, and let me just take you a little closer. There was a special sticker on there, and it was yellow, and it was a manager's special. So basically I got this 85% lean ground beef for $3 off, and the original price was $8.31, so I got it for $5.31 for nearly 3 pounds. So I got a much less fat meat for about what I was expecting to pay for the higher fat meat. But I want to show you what you can do. I know that there is always a challenge with when you come home with a large pack of meat, you wonder, how am I going to store this? If I'm going to use it in the future, you can do a lot of prep work that will save you a lot of time. And then you can use the savings on your ground beef and have great meals for the rest of the month. So I'm going to show you 3 different things I do. You can see here that I've already divided up that approximate 3-pound package into 3 equal portions. And the first thing to do, it's super simple, and it's probably the thing that most people already know how to do, is to just take one of those sections and put it into a freezer-safe bag, and you'll have about a pound worth of ground beef, so that if you wanted to make something later and cook it up later, making something like a meatloaf or something of that type, you would already have it in a 1-pound portion. You also can pre-make meatloaves and then freeze them uncooked. Just make sure that when you pull them out, you have plenty of time for them to thaw completely before you put them in the oven. So that's one thing, is to package it up in a bag. And on to the next. The next tip I have is to make hamburger patties. Now, these are not any hamburger patties. These are our favorite type of hamburger patties, and we add something special to them. What I usually do is I just take about 1 tablespoon of just a regular grill seasoning for every pound that I'm making of hamburgers, and I just mix it into the hamburger, work it in pretty well in a bowl, and then I form it into individual patties. Now, when you freeze hamburger patties, you're going to want to definitely get some wax paper, and you want to make sure that you have layers of wax paper in between all of your hamburger patties, so that when you pull them out of the freezer, they're easy to be able to separate and throw on your grill. Now, you don't have to necessarily defrost these before cooking. You can just put them onto a griddle or your grill, and just make sure that when you pull them off, the juices are running clear and that you don't have any pink, if that's the way that you like it. But you can cook them directly from the freezer. Now, on to our next tip. You can see here that what I'm doing is I'm browning up these ground beef pieces into ground beef crumbles. Now, the great thing about ground beef crumbles is once you take them off the stove and drain them, you can actually put them into freezer bags and put them in the freezer for a couple of months. So if you needed a quick chili or a quick spaghetti with meat sauce, you could just reach into your freezer, grab some pre-cooked ground beef crumbles, and you would have a quick dinner in minutes. So here's a tip that you might benefit from. I was able to get some lower fat concentration ground beef on Manager's Special today. But what if you can't afford the leaner ground beef, but you still want to remove some of that fat? My suggestion is that you go and you take your ground beef once it's finished cooking, use a slotted spoon or a slotted spatula like this one to remove it from the pan into a strainer, preferably a mesh strainer that has very small holes. And then just take it and give it a quick rinse underneath the water faucet. Once it's drained of all that water, you have lean ground beef because you've washed the fat away. I did want to make one more point about Manager's Specials in the meat department. They are a great source of savings, and they usually will happen on the date that that particular cut of meat is the sell-by date. So they're wanting to make sure that they can get it to go off their shelves, and so they'll give you a real special price on it. So just be sure that if you are going to buy Manager Special meats, that you can actually prepare them that day or put them in the freezer that day so that they will still be fresh when you want to eat them. So thank you for joining me. I hope I've been able to share with you some money and time-saving tips for ground beef. Thank you. I hope to see you again soon.